OSHA just released historic new citations against Amazon.
Okay, so this is amazing and disappointing at the same exact time.
For the first time in its 50-year history, federal OSHA issued a violation for maintaining an excessive work pace. Amazon warehouses produce more serious injuries than the rest of the warehouse industry combined. Today's actions come as the result of OSHA investigations in New York, Illinois, and Florida, where they found evidence of job hazards and medical mistreatment. Today's OSHA citations are the latest evidence that Amazon has company-wide corporate-level policies that not only create unsafe work environments, but may actually result in the denial of proper medical treatment once workers get injured. This is something that the full range of state medical and licensing authorities should investigate. And Amazon needs to stop resisting OSHA's orders and fix these hazards.
So this TikTok by Strategic Organizing points out the pretty astonishing news that Amazon warehouses are finally getting hit by OSHA violations for their absolutely absurd working conditions. Now, these are working conditions that we've kind of known about for a pretty long time, so it's honestly ridiculous that it's taken this long to actually happen. But what's really shocking about this story is how much the fine was actually for. And it turns out it was for $60,000. Now, I don't know if you know this about like businesses or warehouses or Amazon in particular, but over the span of the time that these violations were present, these warehouses have generated a heck of a lot more than $60,000 in profit. And that really is the core of the problem. Because unfortunately, as it seems across the United States of America, whenever a company gets caught in some sort of violation of breaking the law or of having like OSHA issues, you name it, anything that might lead to a fine from the government, the fines never add up to the amount of profits that these companies have made, which really then begs the question of, are these companies even going to do anything about it? Because think about it, if the fines are less than the profits these companies are making breaking the rules, well, if you're a smart business owner and your only goal is to make as much money as possible, well, then they're just going to take the fines. They're just going to accept the fines and maintain these working conditions. And that is the problem with the way capitalism operates. Because capitalism operates on the assumption that, well, business owners have to be allowed to make a profit, and at pretty much all costs, even if that cost is quite literally even potentially the lives of the workers. And so, on one hand, this is good that finally OSHA is getting involved in some way, shape, or form. But on another hand, this is bad because it's not only setting a precedent of incredibly low fines for these particular types of infractions, but also it's probably unlikely to actually change Amazon's behavior. A lot of people might read this news story and think that there's a big win and expect some sort of larger systemic change, and there might be some mild changes that are put in place, but ultimately, everything is going to gravitate back towards the most profitable model. So don't let yourself get fooled into thinking that this is some sort of real victory, when the reality is that the true victory would actually be the workers being empowered to determine the rules for their own workplaces to ensure their own safety. And workers actually having real power to decide when something is unsafe or safe. To have real power to fight for themselves, to force these companies to be compliant with OSHA standards, and even better. Because fundamentally, that's really why OSHA even exists in the first place. Because labor unions worked diligently and protested and went on strikes, all in attempts to make sure that there were rules in place to make sure that they were treated properly and got decent wages. And so no, it's not enough, this $60,000 fine. It has to go much, much further. Not only in the realm of enforcement from the government, but also in the realm of organizing from the workers. But it does just go to show how shameless the federal government is in the United States of America, where they are never willing to put fines on a company that are so large that they would actually cut into the profits of these giant corporations. Because heaven forbid, regular working class people be deemed more important than millionaires and billionaires.